Welcome to the Cardinal Report, your weekly 30-minute look inside the world of North Central College athletics. I'm Justin Zipser. The winter season is all wrapped up. Wrestling and indoor track and field were the last dominoes to fall, so to speak. Both were in postseason action over the weekend. The wrestling team sent 125-pounder Nick Santos and 157-pounder Josh Tardy to Cedar Rapids, Iowa for the 2014 D3 National Championships. Tardy took on third-seeded Stephen DeWitt of Loras College in the first round and scored a takedown with 5 seconds remaining to clinch the match. Unfortunately, that was Tardy's lone win of the tournament. Santos needed overtime in his second match of the day, although only 11 seconds worth in his victory against Jorge Lopez of Williams College. But just like Tardy, that was his only win of the tournament. Tardy and Santos finished with 37 and 27 wins on the season, respectively. Congratulations to both wrestlers. One final accolade in the career of men's basketball player Landon Gamble is in. He was named to the D3Hoops.com and National Association of Basketball Coaches All-Midwest Region's second team. Gamble is the 4th all-time leading scorer in Cardinals history and now adds his 4th all-region selection. A combined 17 athletes made the trip from Naperville to Lincoln, Nebraska this past weekend for the D3 Indoor Track and Field National Championships. After this quick timeout, we're joined by both the men's and women's teams. Next, only on the Cardinal Report.
Naperville News 17 is your hometown news source, and not just on television. Visit our website, nctv17.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, or like our Facebook page. And if you have a story you think we should cover, email us at newstips@nctv17.com. Naperville News 17, committed to building and celebrating community.
Our first break is over, so let's continue on with the show. Men's track and field head coach Frank Grammaroso, hot off the heels of D3 National Indoor Championships. So, Coach, 7th place team finish in this one in Lincoln, Nebraska. And like you said, we talked about this after the meet essentially on Saturday. You know, teams like University of Wisconsin Lacrosse send 21 guys to the meet. You have 11, so it's kind of tough to equal up on the team rankings. But considering you sent 11 guys, you had a national championship in Johnny Crane, and just tell me a little bit about how that meet went for you.
Well, I think it went very well. I mean, you have to have the numbers there, and you get 11 guys there, you're hoping to squeeze some more points out, but it didn't happen for us, and we just go back to doing what we do best and be ready for the outdoor season and work a little harder in recruiting, and maybe you'll get a few more of those points back. But guys had great experience. You know, it was some events. It was a very, very tough national meet, much tougher than they have been in the past, and you know, you sometimes keep your fingers crossed that nothing goes wrong, and the points are the points. So you want everybody to feel like they contributed and had a good experience, whether they score or not.
So you've been at your position for a while now. In your experience, how much do your athletes take maybe experiences in the indoor season where they don't do as well as they had hoped into the outdoor season where they get that little bit of extra motivation?
Well, we hope that's a motivating factor for them, that they know they could perform a little bit better, and now they have the outdoor season. And in most of our events, our goal is outdoors. Mm-hmm. Now, indoors is kind of icing on the cake, but we want to do much better outdoors. And I recall many years ago when Dan Meyer won the 5,000 meters, we had 4 other athletes in there, and they did not place, but there were 4 guys in the 5,000 on the award stand at the outdoor national meet. So that's always been our distance program goal, is to point towards the outdoor season, and whatever happens indoors is fun, but it's a stepping stone along the way. And I think all our events would do much better outdoors, but we have an indoor meet, so we have guys that are capable of being there. We're going to try to juggle their training so they can stone from the fall to the indoor season, and then step outside and improve even more.
I think that's a good point you make, because here this year we had 5 guys in that 5K race. Only Johnny Crane was the one who obviously won that race, but the other 4 guys a little bit in the back of the field. Hopefully they take that experience in the national level to outdoors. Let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing from the field events. And this is kind of an area of your team that we're used to seeing a lot more in national meet for pole vaulting, for instance.
We were close in the high jump. I mean, there was a tie, and they break the ties. And one of our competitors down the street, won the tiebreaker. Otherwise, Femi would have been in the meet. And Pembroke had a very good indoor season. So we're looking for them to improve their outdoor mark and possibly get in the meet there and see what happens. You know, we have a thrower that's kind of always on the edge, and we're hoping that, you know, he puts in a few more workouts and some strength training, and, you know, Adam should be able to, you know, hit a mark that can get him at the national meet outdoors. But it's one of those struggles to have a balanced team, and every now and then some events are going to slip a little bit.
Absolutely. You're talking about Adam Weiner, who had a couple of really nice flashes this season,
Yep.
and looking over to the pole vault. Michael Caney was a guy that we saw flashes as well
Sure.
as a freshman. So you're kind of making these building blocks. You're hoping that
Yep.
years later you can kind of use this experience now and push these guys into the national spotlight later.
Yep, it's getting them to believe that they can work hard and eventually get to that level. It's much tougher, you know, even though there's no qualifying standards to hit. Every week you look at the list and see what's going there, and more the last few years. And that's just how good Division III is around the country. I mean, there's a lot of great athletes that are now competing at the Division III level from all the different schools. There's more Division III schools around the country than any other division. So for a school to have 1, 2, or 3 guys, you know, may not have a full team, but have some studs that are going to, you know, score the points that get you on the podium.
21 team points for the team, and 20 of those came from Johnny Crane, and he was just fantastic in this meet. Talk a little bit about what he brought to the table and what he kind of shows leadership-wise for some of the younger runners that we're seeing hopefully pay dividends in the outdoor
Sure,
season.
it started last year, you know, with his indoor and outdoor results, and he knows the job that has to be done, and he's got some great mentors that have been at North Central that are, you know, still training, still running, still advising, and, you know, it's a whole group coaching effort with Coach Carius and the assistant and volunteer coaches that help him and bring those athletes along. But, you know, we knew last year when he broke through, and there's, you know, he's got the whole country behind him, and he's just going to keep on rolling, and that helps take the pressure off some of the other guys. They know Johnny's going to be up there, and you know, I'm just going to do my thing and float right along with it.
And good thoughts as always, Coach. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Don't go anywhere. Next on the Cardinal Report, a couple of All-Americans join us on the couch right after this break.
Yes, ready. Let's go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to TCR. Still talking men's track and field, and now joined by a couple of busy guys. Finals week. You guys are done with finals, but we still appreciate you stopping by. Johnny Crane on the right here, and Derek Nelson on the left. Guys, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
So, two-time national individual champion for you, Johnny. Let's start with the Friday night race, which you ran, which was a race that was kind of simple for you. I mean, you had the lead for most of the race. It was a 13-second win for you. Then the next day, you had that 3K, which how did that affect you when you're running the 5K and then the 3K, maybe mentality-wise, and also how tired your legs were?
Going into the 3,000, I thought my legs were going to feel a little bit better than they did. But a couple laps into the race, I realized that I was leading the 3,000, and I realized I needed to back off because my legs were feeling extremely fatigued from the day before. So I did kind of back off, and I wanted to save everything I had for the 3,000 for the finishing laps, so if I could finish it off hard. And the 5,000, had I known I had to lead at 13 seconds, I may have let off the gas a little bit more. Yeah. But I was reacting to the crowd, and they were all cheering for me, screaming really loud. And they were screaming so loud, I assumed someone was coming up on me. So I was doing what I could to hold anyone off that could be. And then when I crossed the finish line, turned around, I'm like, oh, I could have saved maybe a little bit more for tomorrow. But yeah, it was extremely tough double. I can say that 3,000 was probably one of the tougher races I've ever ran in my life. And it was kind of like a gut check the last couple laps.
Yeah, it was really exciting coming around nearing that bell lap, and you overtook the St. Olaf runner, Grant Wenheiser, who you know from your cross-country days, and that was a really exciting race. Derek, over to you. Featured in the DMR and also the next day on Friday, or rather Saturday, the distance medley relay. So let's talk about that DMR a little bit. The first exchange with you and Travis Morrison, really a great effort by Travis to kind of, while he's falling, throw off the baton to you. What was that like going through your mind? Do you even remember what you were thinking at the time?
Well, I saw him coming in, and just the day before, we've been talking about how fast Travis was, and he could be coming in really fast in this DMR. But sure enough, he put his heart out in that entire race beforehand, and he was slowing down coming in. I got out probably a little hard, and then had to wait for him, and then his diving effort to get me the baton there at the last moment was critical to keeping that race going for us.
Absolutely, and you guys finished on the podium, so All-American status in that DMR, just barely, but you got there, so it was nice to see. We've been talking about it, so let's see it. Highlights from the men's side of the Indoor Nationals from this past weekend. Some brand new competition batons unwrapped for some relay action. Let's start with the distance medley relay. First exchange between Travis Morrison and Derek Nelson sure is dramatic, but both hold on for a clean break. NCC runs hard, but Central College winning the race, 9:52.08, is a new meet record. Morrison, Nelson, Richie Russ, and Matt Muth hold on to 8th place and a podium spot for the Cards. Johnny Crane was a busy dude over the weekend, starting things off with the NCC congested 5K on Friday. Good fan support and good running leads to a 14:06.73 and first place for Crane, 13 seconds between him and second. Crane also in action on the 3K on Saturday. Early on, he knows he's tired from the 5K, so he hangs back in 4th place around halfway through. Just before the bell lap begins, Crane makes his move past Grant Wenheiser of St. Olaf, and from there the champ doesn't look back. 8:10.40 is a PR and a second individual title for the weekend. Crane gets a hug from National Assistant Coach of the Year Al Carius. The men end competition with the 4x400 relay. It's Nelson, Mustafa Oleo, Abraham Ashipitan, and Deontay Hackler who starts the race with the baton. On the third leg, Ashipitan opens up a big lead over the competition and hands to Oleo to finish things off. But Oleo, who missed the CCIW championships with a hamstring issue, can't hold on. Cards finish a half second off the podium in 9th place. So Derek, for the DMR on Friday and then the 4x400 relay on Saturday, you're the last event on each day. So how does that affect you when you're seeing your fellow teammates kind of go through their respective events, and here you are just kind of biding time? Does that help or hurt you think?
Well, I love watching track and field, so it's fun for me to be there and get to see my teammates compete as well as other competitors from around the nation. So. I enjoy that time to, just kind of get myself together, wake up a little bit, and, feel ready to run when it comes that end of the evening. And, it worked out both times, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, I guess.
Yeah, it was nice to see. Johnny, over to you. In the article that was written by Clark Tusher, the SID for North Central, talking to you, you mentioned the word vindication. Tell us why you kind of felt vindicated in reference to the cross-country season.
Yeah, the end of the cross-country season was a really tough pill to swallow. Finishing second both individually and as a team, that wasn't something we were expecting on either end. And so it was something that really stuck with me. And it was something that was really tough for me to get through. And so it was eating us inside that, we were so close to winning, as a team, but we couldn't quite come through with it. And so it felt vindicative because we were able to put five people on the indoor 5,000, which I don't know if has ever been done before. So to be able to do something like that and to be able to go out and show the nation that, we are North Central College, we are one of the best teams still, even after what happened in the fall.
So, the 3K was a new event this year for Indoor Nationals, and obviously that worked out for you, winning both and grabbing the 20 team points. Some people said that the addition of the 3K maybe dilutes the 5K. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it gives people more options in terms of what they want to do. One of the top guys, the guy who won last year, Chris Stadler from Haverford, he opted to do the DMR first day and then the 3,000 the second day. I got to race him either way, but I would say it dilutes it a little bit. But I would say still the top guys, the cross country national champion Michael LeDuc was in the 5,000 still, and a couple other guys who had finished All-American and cross country were all in that race still. But I'd say it dilutes it a little bit, but I'd say between the two events, the top guys are always in those.
Well, guys, fantastic seasons. It was a pleasure to watch both you, Derek, and you, Johnny. Great job this weekend, and we appreciate you stopping by and give us a couple of your thoughts.
All right. Thank you.
Of course, the women's indoor track and field team also had a fine showing in Nebraska. Head coach Carrie Cluckhone is our next guest on the Cardinal Report.
Yes, ready. Let's go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
More Cardinal Report coming your way right now. NCC women's track and field head coach Carrie Cluckhone on the couch right now with us. Carrie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Busy last couple of weeks for you. Obviously, you had conference, you had national meet this past weekend, and overall it seemed to have gone pretty well. You sent 6 girls to Nebraska. Just give me kind of a feel of how things went for you.
We had really the last 3 weeks have been almost a blur. It's gone great. Winning the conference title was excellent by over 40 points, a really great team effort. Got to that last chance meet and added an extra person to our national list. So it took 6 women, and it was a great experience for everybody. It was really fun to be on a bank track in a little bit different environment than what we've been in before. But the women did a great job.
Yeah, it essentially was like a D1 facility over at the Devaney Center in Lincoln. So when you walked in there for the first time, what were kind of some of the feelings going in your head?
The funny thing is I expected more. It felt really relaxed in a way. They show a lot of tradition and history like we do at our school, so you don't get too overwhelmed in there. And we always tell the women it doesn't matter where we're at. You know, a track is a track, a runway is a runway, a circle is a circle. So
cool. So you had a lot of good experiences there, and a couple of awards coming in for both yourself and the coaching staff in general, CCIW Coaching Staff of the Year, and you were named the USTF CCCA Midwest Region Coach of the Year for the 3rd time in 12 years. So had a lot of momentum heading into that national meet, and we saw Madison Renfro with that 5th place finish in the 16-meter hurdles, and Elizabeth Composto with the 8th place finish in the pole vault. So you had some good finishes and kind of momentum heading into the outdoor season.
Yeah, really, our women were well represented across the board in different events. I really worked hard with our coaching staff to develop a comprehensive team. So we're not known to be only in the track or the field at whether it's conference or national. So we had really great representation. A lot of our coaches had people that had qualified for nationals. So really, the awards are really, for the whole coaching staff, I would say.
So this is kind of something interesting. Last time you were on the show, you said something about when you're in a team environment, it's easier, obviously, for one athlete to play off another athlete. When you're in a national meet and you only have 6 girls, yourself and a number of other assistant coaches, does that change the atmosphere as much because there's only a finite amount of athletes there in Nebraska?
Yeah, and actually 6 is quite a few. There aren't that many teams that have 6. There are those that do. But for us to have 6 events covered, I was actually very happy with, and several were actually going on at the same time. So in a way, it was really almost as much as a national meet can be, like a team meet. Where we're at the pole vault, and we have the multis going, and we have the hurdles going, and the mile going. So there are a lot of things going on at one time. We're really fortunate to have the coaching staff we have, so everything would be covered as well. But we tell the women that you represent, the 60 women that are back at home. The national team isn't the 6 that are here, it's everybody. So they go into any opportunity to compete with a team mindset. But that being said, you also have to learn how to be able to dig down inside yourself when you don't have the other 54 cheering for you like you would at a typical meet. And that's really what actually separates some people from others, that they're able to dig down inside themselves and find that extra bit without all that support from their team that right there.
And I think that even makes, people like yourself and Sean Denard, for instance, over in the shop, but even more important because if you know, like Ebony Stallworth, for example, was in the shot put, and there's a ton of girls from different schools, and you're kind of in your own different island there, you have someone to look back to. You have someone to look back to, like yourself, or some of the cheering section, the other girls that weren't in events, or Coach Denard. So that kind of plays into that as well. How important is the coaching staff, the assistant coaching staff, when you're into this national meet?
Extremely important. Yeah, and they're important on every day. I mean, really, their main goal, any of our coaches, is really to be able to instill in the women, you know, how to perform at any meet, regardless of who's there with them at that moment. You know, and they instill that in practice by teaching them things, the technical aspects, and giving them that confidence through that consistent training over a period of time. You know, that being said, you know, having that person in the coaching box, or having your teammates, you know, at the shot put, they're all sitting there cheering for her. You know, we make a concerted effort to be there as a team, whether it's coaches or the athletes, regardless if it's conference or nationals.
So you have some breathing room now after the whirlwind 3 weeks here with conference and nationals, and then you have outdoor season to look forward to. You can give us a little bit of a preview for outdoor season?
Oh yeah, we're really excited for outdoor. It's nice to have a little breather, but you know, we have our high goals going into the outdoor season. You know, even looking at nationals, we have the right pieces. It's putting them all together at the right time. You know, we had some outstanding performances at indoor. You know, and Jocelyn being an All-American for the first time ever, it's not an easy feat in the pentathlon to do that. And to be able to put it all together, and like being able to take the women that made it, but we also have some others at home that didn't come with us indoor that we really feel should be at the national championships outdoor. We're really excited for what we have coming.
Cool. Well, we're looking forward to it, and thanks for stopping by once again this season.
Thank you.
That's head coach Carrie Clicone. We still have more Cardinal Report and track and field on deck. Two of Coach's finest are next on the Cardinal Report.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Welcome back to TCR. Sprinter Madison Renfro and pole vaulter Liz Composter are our final guests on the show this week. Guys, thanks for stopping by, finishing up with us. I know you have finals this week, just like we had the men on, but you guys are done, so we appreciate you stopping by.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about nationals a little bit. A big weekend for you guys, and it was a lot of fun watching you in Nebraska. Madison, we'll start with you. A 5th place finish in the 60-meter hurdles, and you've had such a good season as a sophomore, just kind of breaking records back and forth. You broke your own record on the prelim on Friday. You got very close on Saturday, but still good enough for that 5th place finish. So just talk me through the race. I know it goes by so quick and you're kind of zoned out, but can you remember anything from the weekend, kind of the feelings that you had, and maybe the memories that you'll take with it?
Well, like outside of track, it was just awesome. The experience was really nice. And then at the track, it didn't really feel, I mean, I was excited and I got a little bit more excited than I usually would at a normal meet, but the facility wasn't something that would like make you super nervous or anything. I wasn't nervous. I was just really like adrenaline pumped through me, and I was just ready to go. I mean, it felt awesome. The track was fast. So
yeah, I mean, you looked like you were in the zone definitely during that run before even, just eyes on the prize. Liz, let's go over to you over in the pole vault, and another good showing for you. You're now a 3-time All-American, first 3 years, so you kind of have a nice track record for success. So was there anything that you learned the first 2 years that you took into this meet to try to keep up with that national talent?
Well, I knew that there was a certain point, being there a couple years now, that, you know, the competition really starts picking up later. So just to kind of have that endurance and to know that you're going to have to jump a few more times to really start competing with the top girls, I've kind of learned that from the past couple of years.
You're kind of well-versed in the whole national meet thing. We saw how the men did earlier. Now let's hit the highlight machine once again for the women and see how they did. Much of the first day of action centers around Jocelyn Redlinski in the pentathlon. 5 events, it's all about endurance. Had a great showing in the first leg, the 60-meter hurdles, 8.88, top in the field. She adds a 2nd place finish in the high jump and 12th in the shot put. Here in the long jump, good for 6th place, 17 feet and 1.5 inches. She tacks on a 13th place showing in the 800 meter, but it's just good enough for her to hang on to the podium. 8th place, she's the first North Central Women's Multi-Event All-American. Friday was also pole vault day for the women. Brooke Patterson showing up at Nationals for the first time in her Cardinal career with a solid showing. Here's her top clearance of 11 feet and 7 3/4 inches, 12th place in a field of 17. Liz Composto is already a two-time All-American and as a junior trying to make it 3 in a row to start her career. She tops out at 12 feet and 5 1/2 inches and she hangs on for the podium at 8th place in another All-America certificate. Ebony Stallworth qualified for the final round of the shot put with this throw of 44 feet and 6 3/4 inches, but can't do any better. She finishes 9th place. Madison Renfro has the best finish of any athlete on the team with her 60-meter hurdle effort. She set a school record on Friday in the prelims, and on Saturday she gets close to her own mark, 8.78 seconds. That's the sophomore, a 5th place finish. So the last couple times you've been at Nationals, you've been kind of by yourself in terms of the pole vault, but this time you had Brooke Patterson, who finished 12th and had a good first showing at a national qualifying meet. What was it like kind of hanging out with Brooke, knowing that you kind of had someone to lean on during the meet?
It was a lot of fun. It's really reassuring just to be able to have somebody who knows exactly what you're going through in a meet and just to kind of ask them questions, talk to them, kind of communicate what's going on, how did that look, and we were able to just use each other for technical purposes and motivation and all that.
And Madison, you had sort of kind of the same thing with Jocelyn Redlinski, who doesn't per se run the 60-meter hurdles proper, but as part of the pentathlon, she was in the 60-meter hurdles in that regard, and you guys were breaking records back and forth, going back and forth with each other's record, and we had Jocelyn on the show last time, and she was very appreciative of having you as someone to kind of motivate her. I'm assuming that it's the same for you as well.
Oh yeah, our times are just like right next to each other, and when we race against each other, we push each other, like we help each other a lot. And she's helped me a lot the last 2 years. She's someone that I go to, like if I don't know what to do at practice or at meets, like she's someone to lean on, and it's been really like great having her around.
And also, as we talked with Coach Clacone about how the fact that you have those assistant coaches to lean on as well, and just friends, family, everyone's there to kind of cheer you on. We saw a lot of great support from North Central fans making the trip to Nebraska, or some living in the area. So when you're in that type of atmosphere, you hear fan support. What does that do for you?
It just makes me really excited to run the race. I mean, you don't really hear anything like during the race, but before, like you hear them, it's like, you're gonna do this for them, and it's gonna just feel awesome afterwards. So.
Definitely, I think you definitely look like you had that type of feeling afterward. So Liz, you got outdoor season coming up. Obviously, it's very different going from outdoor to indoor, or vice versa, rather, in this circumstance. So, what do you take from the indoor season, kind of momentum-wise, into outdoor season?
You just keep going along with what I've been doing. Nothing really changes. A little bit will change with weather outside and practicing outside, but everything is just a gradual process from the beginning indoor to the end of outdoor. So just kind of continue that and keep the momentum going.
It's definitely nice to be outside and taking some of the fresh air. So we'll see you guys out there on the courses. We appreciate you stopping by here.
Thank you.
That's all we have for this episode. In fact, we're off for a couple of weeks while the athletes head out on a well-earned spring break. Be sure to join us April 3rd for our first episode of the spring season. As always, you can catch each and every episode of this season of the Cardinal Report by hopping on over to nctv17.com. I'm Justin Zipser. We'll see you next time.